The author of Harry Potter, as well as some other books that virtually no one has read, J.K. Rowling, is very angry this week, saying that transgender activists effectively doxed her on social media, publicizing her home address. Now, on Friday night, this is of last week, the eve of Transgender Day of Remembrance, comedian Holly Stars, actor Georgia Frost, and drag king Richard Energy staged a demonstration in front of her home near Edinburgh. Okay, the whole thing just moved. In protest against her previously stated views and expounded upon views about the trans community. So in a thread on Twitter, Rowling bashed the trio for doxing her when they posted a now deleted photo on the social media site with her home address visible in the background. Doxing is the publication of someone's private information online without their consent. And I will say that apparently did happen. And don't do that. Don't do that to J.K. Rowling. Don't do that to anybody. It sucks. Don't do that in the UK. Don't do that in the United States. It happens to a lot of people. It's happened to my coworkers. I know that Hassan, who used to work here, has it happen to him literally every day. We live in an insane world that is filled with crazy people who have easy access to firearms. So let's just not do that. But other than that, feel free to protest her. She's awful and she doesn't apologize for any of that. I do want to just briefly jump in because my producer is letting me know, and I saw this being typed in real time, that she did read J.K. Rowling's other books. They're unfortunately very good. Thank you for letting me know that. Is that Sophie? I think that's Sophie. It's Sophie. Sorry, I didn't read them. Anyway, so here's the thing. J.K. Rowling has decided that rather than making her career about her books, which are, at least with the Harry Potter stuff, admittedly very popular. I read all of the Harry Potter books and thought that they were good. She has used her platform to publicize her beliefs, and everyone is free to do that. And everyone is free to judge the person accordingly for what they choose to do with their platform. Stephen King likes to talk about politics. He actually wrote a book once about guns. He thinks that they should be regulated. You can choose to do that. And if you choose to use your platform to just constantly go after the transgender community, then we get to think about that. And we get to decide what we think about you based on that, and whether we want to buy your future books or buy merch that you might make money off of. We have some of her past tweets. I don't need, like, do I? Okay, I'll read one or two. So back in 2019 was sort of when this started. She expressed support for Maya Forstater, a British tax specialist who was fired for tweets that were deemed to be anti-transgender. Then J.K. Rowling decided to tweet things like, if sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth. And then there's more stuff about people who menstruate, and she wrote like a 3,600 word essay about it. You can say that you love and support these people, but you seem to really have a bone to pick. And again, you get to say that stuff and other people get to respond. And in a world where there are fantasy novels being written by many people, they can choose who they want to send their money to, who they'd like to. And by the way, like, let's keep it real. If you've read the Harry Potter books, if you've watched the movies, you know that she already had a lot of other blind spots that cropped up constantly in those works with, I think at least arguably anti-Semitic depictions of people, weird stuff about slavery and everything. This is hardly the first area that she's spoken on with seemingly a little bit lacking in knowledge and perspective. But anyway, there are consequences for that. Now, the consequences should not be doxing. I am against that. But the fact that the 20-year Harry Potter reunion didn't invite her, I think that is a personally perfect response. They want people to still buy these movies. They want them to still buy the merch. And they know that affiliating yourself closely with J.K. Rowling is not gonna help you in that mission. Now that's one headline for that. I did find another one. Is J.K. Rowling not invited to Harry Potter reunion because she said men and women are different? From Sam Amico at Outkick. And he talks about how a loud crowd are coming at her. And I will ask J.K. Rowling, do you want to be affiliated with that person who would present your argument and the counterpoints from the transgender community in that insanely diminishing and demeaning way? You're choosing to side with those people. You don't have to keep doing it. You can potentially turn this thing around. But she's put a couple solid years into this anti-transgender stuff. That's a choice that she's making, and the rest of us have to make choices. By the way, I realized I skipped over this. I want to briefly go back to this because it's a good comment from Daniel Radcliffe, who had said, transgender women are women. Any statement to the contrary erases the identity and dignity of transgender people and goes against all advice given by professional healthcare associations who have far more expertise on the subject matter than either Joe or I. That is a reasonable thing for a person not in that community to say. And maybe like talk to people. Maybe like first of all, it's not their job to get you to accept and recognize their humanity, but maybe cloaking yourself in ignorance, like enthusiastic ignorance, isn't the best way to go, especially if you want people to buy your books.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.